In this video, I'm going to show you the exact scripting and storytelling framework that's helping my friend Ryan grow 500 followers every single day on Instagram, which is about 100,000 followers in 6 months. And the crazy part, when we were planning this new content strategy out and he wasn't posting, he wasn't gaining any followers at all. In fact, he was losing followers just 2 weeks ago. Anyone can go viral on social media in any niche, but you're going to need to understand how to package your ideas into engaging stories, simple scripts, and viral hooks. And I'm going to share all of the fundamental concepts that are based on real psychology that will allow you to package your ideas and finally create your first viral video. I'm going to cut through all of the noise that most people talk about when they give you social media advice. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to know about creating your own content. So then by the end of this video, you'll have an easy, fun, and simple way to start creating content. And at one point, I never thought my own Instagram account would go viral either. I was awkward. I didn't know how to speak to the camera. I was shy. And to be honest, I just didn't have any confidence that my videos with my face and my voice would actually go viral. I never thought someone would actually want to listen to what I had to say. But once I made my own viral talking head video, which gained me 50,000 followers from just one video, and then that ended up totaling about 100,000 followers in just 3 months, which was absolutely insane. And it shattered any sort of limiting beliefs I had with content. So I really do mean it when I say anyone can go viral in any niche. I've seen it with myself. I've seen it with my friends. And you can do this all without running ads, without buying followers, without tricking the algorithm, without any viral luck, and without spending hours on scripting videos just for it to feel inauthentic and robotic. I would suggest for anyone to only spend a maximum of 1 hour a day on content. If you have the right system, this is plenty of time to start creating content. And if you don't know who I am yet, my name is Ethan. I'm a photographer turned content creator. And over the past couple of years, I've grown hundreds of thousands of followers across different niches. And I've had many videos reach millions of views. And this was starting from zero. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you sound like. It doesn't matter if you're shy or introverted. It doesn't matter how good your camera is. Anyone can go viral. It's all about the packaging, delivery, and the emotion you can provoke in your content. And we can apply this emotion-evoking principle across business content, lifestyle content, fitness content, value-based content, and then of course the traditional entertainment styles of content as well, like comedy, music, motivational niches, and anything else you can really find on the internet. Because fundamentally, we're just looking at how people's brains react when they're consuming content and allowing our piece of content to look appealing, so then we can get more attention for our valuable content rather than them just scrolling to more brain rot or random AI memes and slop. So it's quite literally a disservice to people if you don't package your content in a way that's going to be digestible for people to watch. So before we get into the first main point, let's talk about a few blind spots that you may be having with your own content so you can develop your taste as a creator, which is what all of the best creators have developed over a few years. But I'll just give this to you in a few minutes so we can get you up to speed. Blind spot number one is that we need to take accountability for how our content is performing. So the hard truth and the industry secret is that the algorithm doesn't determine who goes viral. People determine who goes viral. When people are scrolling, their brain is making split-second decisions. You have less than 1 second to stop them. You have to win people over, but you can still be authentic. I'm still being exactly how I am in real life. I'm just packaging my ideas in a way that's easy for you to understand and follow along with this video. Just as if I was publishing an essay or a newsletter, people have to understand what I'm saying and why what I'm saying is important. Why should they care? So that first hook needs to also be really important to stop the scroll. Then the information also needs to be good enough. And this is where I can kind of prove to you that it's not actually the algorithm determining how many views your video gets. Imagine if this YouTube video you're watching right now, or the Instagram video I just posted, got 10 shares out of the 20 views that it received. And each of those 10 people posted it on their story and sent it to a friend. Then naturally, that's going to multiply the amount of views the video is going to get. And then if those people who saw the video that was shared also decided to share the video, now I might have 100 shares and then 1,000 shares. And then all of a sudden, the video has 10,000 shares and 100,000 people saw the video. This is not the algorithm pushing it to people. This is literally other people recognizing good content, being hooked in by the topic, the ideas, or the format, and find value in the video that they want to share. So we don't need the algorithm to be pushing our content. Good content will be shared and seen and recognized, which is why we need to make good content, which is what we're going to get into. So when you're starting out, we want to make sure our scripts and content packaging is very tight. And once we develop that rapport, once we give the viewer and audience some value, then we can slow it down a little bit and take our time to explain concepts, to get a little bit more personal, or to tell more stories. So those are the fundamentals of why this information that I'm about to tell you works. It all comes back down to psychology, which is just human behavior, how we act, what we like, and then the actual creative, the actual packaging of your content, because it needs to be well received, hook people in, and creating content that's easy for people to enjoy and share and talk about. So then how do we actually do this if the creative is the only thing that matters? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's get into how to write a hook using this 3-part framework. And then we'll get into how to structure a story to keep natural tension and keep people engaged throughout the video after you hook them, which is going to be super important. And then number 3, we'll get into how to make your content simple, digestible, and making sure your audience actually understands what you're saying. This is the most important tip out of all of them, because if people don't understand your content or understand your hook, then nothing else matters. So make sure you wait until point 3. So then you have a full understanding of how to package your ideas into viral formats. So the exact framework that I use and all of your other favorite creators use is something along these lines. I call this one specifically the 3 C's framework, which the first sentence starts off with a cliffhanger, which is a polarizing hook, something that's going to stop the viewer in their track and have to know what the next sentence is. The second sentence is going to be credibility, which is the importance of why the information that you're about to tell them is valuable. Why is the topic of this video relevant to them? Why should they listen? And number 3, completion, which is the payoff of the video. We don't want to waste any more time in the video. Once we have hooked them in through the cliffhanger, then we've told them why it's important and why it's correct with the credibility statement. Then we go into completion, which is the payoff, and start giving them a value. And we want to have a high value per second when we're creating content, so people trust us and they know they're not wasting their time when they watch our content. And that first polarizing statement is where you typically see creators talk a lot about, of like the main hook. You just want to make this bold, contrarian, or curiosity inducing. I also like to think of it as emotion provoking as well. This is not the time to play it safe or be casual or be slow. We want to use polarizing statements. So here are a few examples. Never do X. Most people fail because they miss this one thing. The number one mistake about, here's how my friend Ryan is growing 500 followers every single day. So we want to be using keywords and strong words, stuff like never, always, most important, biggest mistake, crazy, secret. And you can see those in my viral hook writing guide, which I've collected a whole bunch of viral hooks that are proven, that I've stolen from other viral videos, just that first line. And then you can fill in the blank with your own topics and ideas. Link is going to be in the description if you want to check that out. The human brain also tends to gravitate towards negatively positioned hooks. We tend to like the gossip and drama of a negative hook. So never do this. This is the worst thing you can do. It kind of creates this pain and curiosity of what's something I should be avoiding. So that's also why you see a lot of negative hooks naturally do better, because again, our brain kind of gets more curious about the negative hooks. Then element number 2 is the credibility statement. Immediately after that bold claim, you need to prove why you're worth listening to. This is where you can drop your results, show some experience, or show the proof of where you got this information to begin with. You can use specific numbers, timeframes, methods, sources, your own personal stories or experiences, your clients' stories or experiences, whatever makes sense for your own credibility statement. You can be pretty creative with this and have some fun. You don't always have to make it so salesy and so number-based if you don't want to be, especially if that doesn't relate back to your own niche. It's also worth noting here that some creators use visual credibility or their own brand to then have a implied credibility statement. So if there was like a jacked fitness guy teaching you how to do biceps, and in the video he has really nice biceps, that is like a visual credibility statement. So he doesn't really need to say So you can get biceps like these. It's almost implied in the video because he's already jacked. And then the last one is completion, which is the payoff. This is where I just add one more sentence to make it very clear to the audience that we're getting into the video. I'd say like that transitional sentence to really time pace the video so they watch all the way through and give a promise that the value is coming right away, that I'm not wasting their time. So some transitional phrases that I see a lot on Instagram or that I use is, so this is exactly how to do it. I say, this is exactly how, as in it's easy, I'm not leaving out any fluff, and it's a step-by-step guide. Or you could say something like, the first part is blank. Or you could say, and I'm going to break this down exactly in the next 2 minutes. Just something like that where you're making it clear and reminding the audience that we're getting into the meat of the video. So that is the first hook of the video. On Instagram, this is going to be your first 10 seconds of the video. It's literally 1 line, 2 line, and 3 lines, all said pretty quickly. So then this brings us to the story structure and how we can actually deliver our message in content. This is going to make sure people keep watching all the way through. Amazing stories keep natural tension throughout the whole story. So you never know what's coming next. And in value-based content, because we're not telling a story, we can use similar frameworks that still work by just creating emphasis on points and making sure that the audience or the viewer needs to understand the big picture of things to make it all make sense or to make sure that they get the most value possible. And the method that I've been using over the past couple of years is the ABT method, the and, but, therefore method. This was popularized by the creators of South Park, and they use this method all of the time, but it was actually invented by someone called Randy Olson, who was also another filmmaker, storyteller. But essentially the ABT method, the and, but, therefore method, is a simple framework to tell stories to create and keep tension in your story. It's something that our brain really finds interesting, and we can look at a couple different ways that it's been used over time. For example, we could tell the story of the 3 little pigs using this method. 3 little pigs built their houses, and each chose different materials. But a big bad wolf came and blew down the straw and stick houses. Therefore, the pigs ran into the brick house to stay safe. And I find when I'm personally using this method, I just really emphasize the word but. But naturally has like a very dramatic meaning to it when we make content. It implies conflict, and conflict means tension. And tension is what keeps people watching. And then without conflict, then there's no reason for our brains to care. So the viral storytelling formula is introduced with some sort of conflict, which typically in value-based content is the problem you're trying to solve or the solution that we're trying to get. Then we have more context. So then the problem or solution is easier understood or fully understood by the audience. And then we have the resolution, which is the actual value, the solution that you're giving them to reach your solution or to fix their problem. And then finally, you can finish off with a lesson or the implementation, which is going to be the full story. And we can tell these types of stories using the ABT method. At the end of the day, stories creates emotion, and content is emotion provoking. That's why we watch content. That's why we find it entertaining. So we have to get really good as creators to prompt emotion, to provoke emotion, so then people enjoy watching our content. If you think about all the viral content, it typically does provoke some type of intense emotion. Politics is controversial. Natural disasters are kind of scary and fear-based. AI content is very popular right now. That is fear-based. We have exciting and happy stories. We have like cute viral kittens going viral. Then we have like really badass value-based videos, or we have motivational videos like Jocko Willink or any of those motivational quote type videos. Or we have really calming and zen type of videos, or creators that tune into that and provoke those emotions out of you that make you want to watch. So the better we can tell stories and package our content or value to provoke more emotion, the better we're going to have. And using those but statements are going to be the most important and the easiest way to do that. An example that I would personally use using the ABT method is something off the cuff. I could say, you want to grow your Instagram in 2026 and you've tried everything, but nothing seems to work. Therefore, you need to learn the future of content creation using AI. So then in that hook or in that framework of that video, we have a unique mechanism, which is using AI. But we have a problem, which is the but statement. And then we have the context or the goal, which is you want to be growing on Instagram in 2026. So hopefully that makes sense there. And then the most important topic now is the simplicity of your content. Most creators think that they want to flex their knowledge with complex vocabulary, but this is actually the worst thing you can do for your content. See how I used the word but there? We want to keep our content as natural and as simple as possible so as many people can understand our content as possible. We have to remember not everyone is going to keep up with the jargon and the industry language that you're using. You're probably an expert in your field. You have to remind yourself that a lot of people watching your content are just going to be beginners, or a lot of people watching your content might not even speak English as their first language. And a lot of people watching your content may not want to process and turn on their brain to understand your advanced vocabulary. Alex Hormozi is one of the best creators that does this. He purposefully speaks and writes at a 6th grade reading level. He intentionally removes cleverness and fluff from his content. So this is kind of paraphrased from his ideas. But if you don't get rid of the extra details and jargon, then people are going to be spending time and mental energy trying to understand what you're saying rather than understanding the concepts of what you're trying to tell them. Then secondly, the simpler language gets better results because more people can actually understand you and your content is more widely applicable to more people. And you can do this all without sounding stupid or sounding like you're uneducated. We all think Alex Hormozi is pretty damn smart and a very good business entrepreneur. And this is actually one of the biggest mistakes I see with many creators is they're making content about really advanced topics or speaking in advanced ways that it doesn't even make sense. One of the most famous and viral YouTubers right now, Jenny Hoyos, she makes entertainment content, literally A/B tested vocabulary, and she found advanced words like business or profit is too complicated for her audience and it makes the views go down. So instead, if she had to use a term like business or like profit, she would explain what it means in the video. So instead of Jenny saying, we made $10 of profit from the cookies, she might say, the cookie costs us $20, but we were able to sell it for $30, which means we have $10 left over, implying she made $10 profit. She's better off explaining the concept rather than jumping deep into advanced topics. And of course, this is a very easy example with profits and cookies. But you could use the same terminology with more advanced topics like coding, like stock trading, like real psychology, neuroscience hacks, whatever your niche is. And not only does vocabulary matter, but the actual topics matter too. And this is a really funny test, but would your older relatives understand the topic of the video that you're making? Would your grandma understand it? If you just showed them this video with no context, does it make sense? Does the hook make sense of what the video is about? Does your credibility statement make sense of why this information is important and why they should be listening to it? Does the payoff and the value make sense? And is it actionable enough for your older relative to actually gain value from that video? If not, then that video is too complicated. It's not going to be shared. It's not going to be understood, and it's not going to be watched. So that's why we want to optimize for simplicity in our content, not for the sake of dumbing it out for people, but just for the sake of increased comprehension. So then people can care about the actual topic and the value in the video rather than trying to translate it into words that they understand or can't use. And think about it too. If you want or expect your video to get millions of views, not everyone even speaks English as their first language. There's 8 billion people in the world. So if you want 10 million, 100 million views, there's no way for your videos to actually go viral if they're using complicated phrases and words. This is why some of the most viral videos online don't have a language barrier. It's like people dancing or really big and exaggerated facial expressions like, who's that one TikToker? Like Cabby Lame. His videos, he doesn't even say anything. It's just reliant on basic human psychology using his emotions through his facial expressions. And then a bonus tip for you guys, you can also use staccato pacing to keep things interesting so it doesn't feel like you're always lecturing to the camera. So staccato pacing is following your sentences with short and then medium and then long answers, keeping it slightly different each time you speak. This creates it more engaging, more fun for the viewer to process, and still keeps it simple. So we might have a short sentence followed by a medium sentence, which has a little bit more detail, and then a longer sentence to really bring everything together, like the short sentence I just said and the medium sentence. And this is the long sentence. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found some value on how to structure and package your content ideas, then you might find this video interesting here, where I talk about how to actually start posting consistently, how to actually grow your personal brand, and how to create a space and a vibe on the internet. So then when you do build an audience or get a viral video, they have somewhere to go. That video is going to be right here. How I grew 0 to 200,000 followers on Instagram in 2026. That's really going to help you package all of your ideas together into one cohesive brand. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.